Welcome everyone to the fourth episode of the Jester Says podcast. I'm Jester, aka Reese Baldwin, and this podcast is bringing you all the latest in the gaming world in terms of news, and we'll discuss a couple of topics along the way. So, first up, news number one. That'll be, if I can get it up, there we go. Um, the sort of ex-BioWare GM, Casey Hudson, has since formed a new studio called Humanoid Studios. So I've just taken this from an article on VG247. Casey Hudson, BioWare's most recognizable face and longtime studio GM, left the studio in December last year to try something different. The veteran developer luckily won't be leaving games behind. Hudson announced his return to the world of game development under a new banner, Humanoid Studios. His new venture, which is going to be working on a new IP. Humanoid is based in Canada with offices in British Columbia and Alberta. So this is promising. So Casey Hudson, um, well, worked on a ton of stuff at BioWare. Stuff like Mass Effect, Dragon Age. He was one of the sort of prominent faces of BioWare for a long time. Um, him going out on his own now to create another sort of new studio, new IP has me interested. Hopefully, it'll be another sort of RPG IP going by Casey's lineage. I think that would be pretty cool. I guess all the best, and hopefully we'll get to see the fruits of the labour in the next couple of years. I'm guessing, if it's just sort of being announced, probably maybe 4 to 5 years for them to sort of really build something from the ground up anyway. Next up, we have Xbox is the official console of Battlefield 2042. What that means exactly could be anyone's guess. So DICE and EA have sort of announced, look, the Xbox is going to be the official platform for Battlefield 2042. The weird thing for me is obviously there are no details, so we don't know whether it's going to be something like maybe exclusive content, maybe it'll just run better on the console. Um, who knows what that kind of partnership will take. I'm guessing that something like that could be ripe for Game Pass. Who knows? All I'm thinking maybe since they didn't announce any details currently, maybe they announced it now as a sort of PR thing, where it's kind of to drum up that kind of hype and sort of change people's perception, or maybe not change it, but kind of lead people in the direction of, associating Battlefield with Xbox. Something I've done for a long time anyway, but I guess that's just because I've always played Battlefield on Xbox. Same with Call of Duty, even though Call of Duty currently has partnerships with Sony and PlayStation, I still associate Call of Duty with Xbox because Xbox is where I've always played Call of Duty. Whether it was the original Xbox 360, Xbox One, and now the Series X consoles. It'll be an interesting one. Hopefully, we'll get some more details over the coming months. Maybe probably at the EA Play Live later this month. Yeah, it's interesting. Um, it does drive that hype. I just want kind of a couple more details. Okie Next up, we have Konami and Bloober Team announced this sort of collaboration and partnership. Um, Quite an interesting one. So Bloober Team, they've got a strong history of sort of horror titles like The Medium, Blair Witch, Observer. They're a Polish studio, and the heavy sort of rumors are that they'll be working on a new Silent Hill game. Konami own the IP, of course. A Bloober Team, I guess, would be primed to make that kind of game. Um, and hopefully it comes to fruition. I know Silent Hill has been something long requested, long awaited for years now, and it's probably ready for another game in that kind of universe. And I think for something like Silent Hill, it'll take the right team to get it right. Um, and I think Bloober Team can absolutely pull that off. Okay, another sort of kind of partnership acquisition sort of thing we got going on is PlayStation have been on a bit of a spend this past couple of weeks. By the looks of it, they've acquired two studios, um, one being Housemarque, the team that just recently released Returnal, and I don't know how to say this one, Nix, which is spelled Nixxes. Nix, Neeks, who knows. Just going to read a little bit of some articles from IGN.com. First one about Nix. I'll just call it Nix. Easier to say. Um, so this one's from IGN.com. PlayStation acquires Nix, a PC port-in specialist. PlayStation has acquired Nix, a Dutch studio that specializes in porting games to PC. Announced by head of PlayStation Studios Herman Hulst, Nix has been bought for an undisclosed fee. The studio will provide high-quality in-house technical and development capabilities for PlayStation Studios, according to a press release. So I'm wondering whether they will just strictly be sort of the team behind porting or the sort of PlayStation exclusive games to PC. They seem to be sort of well suited towards doing that kind of stuff with Horizon, Death Stranding, etc. I'm guessing they were the team behind those, maybe. Um, Someone might be able to correct me on that. Or would they be allowed to sort of create their own games? It depends, I guess, what Nix initially wanted to do anyway. Like, do they feel they want to make their own games, or were they happy to be bought for the purpose of supporting all the other studios in figuring out like the best sort of ways to go about uh, developing their games for PC then? Very interesting one, especially amidst some of the other purchases and rumored purchases. We're going to say rumored because they weren't all cleared. Next up, another article from IGN about Housemarque being acquired by PlayStation. So Sony has acquired Finnish developer Housemarque. After years of collaboration between the two companies, Housemarque most recently released the PS5 exclusive Returnal. The news was announced on the PlayStation blog, with PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulst saying, Housemarque's recent release of Returnal proves the studio is with incredible vision, capable of creating memorable new games that resonate with our community. This edition enhances the creative force of PlayStation Studios, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for Housemarque. The studio has been purchased for an undisclosed fee. So, there we go. Mike's back. Housemarque has long been sort of associated with PlayStation anyway. Obviously, we've had Returnal, sort of Resogun. It's just one of those things where it's like, I guess it was about time because they were always sort of assumed to be like in this long partnership with PlayStation. It was like one of those things where people discussed who could PlayStation acquire, and Housemarque was on the top of a lot of those lists. So yeah, makes sense. The other sort of acquisition that could be around the corner perhaps is Bluepoint Games. So Bluepoint over the past couple of years have been responsible for a lot of remakes, remasters, sort of thing. The latest kind of one being uh, maybe the latest one, I'm not sure. Shadow of the Colossus remake, that was Bluepoint. Um, so yeah, we'll just have a look at this other article. Um, Once again from IGN.com by Matt Perslow. The article reads, a tweet from PlayStation Japan Twitter account has potentially revealed that the company has acquired Bluepoint Games, the American studio behind the Demon Souls and Shadow of the Colossus remakes. Demon Souls was the other one. I knew it was there on in my mind somewhere. The now deleted tweet was spotted by Reset Error user Modiz as well as Nivel on Twitter. Both posted independent images of the tweet, which shows Japanese text accompanied by artwork for Bluepoint Games and the English text, Welcome to the family. So I also saw this when I was scrolling through Twitter, and at first I was like, I saw the image before the tweet that Nebelian posted. So I saw PlayStation Studios, Bluepoint Games, Welcome to the family. I was like, oh, awesome, good for them. Turns out it was posted in error. Then it's like, why would they just have that image lying around? Maybe someone put up the wrong image for a different press release at another time, or maybe just someone was like, oh, we've acquired this, put an image together, and they've accidentally put the wrong studio in there. Who knows? Bluepoint makes sense, would absolutely be a good pickup for them, and I think same with Nyx. I wonder if they do sort of acquire Bluepoint, what their role would be. Would it be still in sort of remaking a lot of the franchises from yesteryear, or would they be then entrusted to start making their own games? They've proven time and time again that they've got the chops to do that sort of thing. They yeah, I'd be happy to see a new sort of Bluepoint Zone new IP. Um, I think that'd be good for the PlayStation catalog as well. After that, we have NetherRealm, the studio behind Mortal Kombat, are working on a brand new game. And when I say brand new game, it's just a brand new game. I don't know whether it'll be new IP or what, maybe the next Mortal Kombat, who knows. But let's take a look at a little article by Matt T.M. Kim from IGN.com. So NetherRealm took to Twitter this morning to announce that it has started work on its next project. As a result, there will be no further DLC for Mortal Kombat 11. So the tweet from @Mortal Kombat read, NetherRealm is now focusing on its next project, and after more than 2 years of supporting Mortal Kombat 11, DLC for the game, including characters, has come to an end. And I think it was a nice sort of thing where they were honest, they were open, they said, look, this is it now for Mortal Kombat 11. We've supported it for over 2 years post-launch, which absolutely incredible, like really good sort of, I guess, just really good company. A really good thing to do is to support, your games for years to come with new content. Specifically in a fighting game, you want more characters. I mean, take Smash Brothers for instance. It's now 2021. The game came out in 2018, and we're still getting new characters, with the final one sort of coming later this year, by the seams of it. But NetherRealm now focusing on the next project. Be interesting to see whether they are continuing Mortal Kombat. Maybe they do Injustice. Where are they going to go? Not my sort of cup of tea per se. I'm But out of all the fighters, I guess Mortal Kombat would be the one to take my fancy. Either that or Killer Instinct. Come on, Xbox, give me another Killer Instinct, please. But yes, okie So EA are apparently priming to revive a new um, game in a long dormant franchise. Now, whether that means a reboot, a remake, uh, a sequel, a prequel, is anyone's guess. But the sort of the one everyone's looking towards is Dead Space, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. I'm not a Dead Space person. I'll always say horror games not my cup of tea. I'm too much of a scaredy cat. My heart can't take it. Nerves get shot. But it seems to be perhaps Motive would be the team working on it. Not exactly confirmation, but something that is heavily rumored, heavily talked about. That's something that sort of Jeff Grubbers teased back in March. But it'll be interesting to see where they go. I guess all sort of eyes are on the EA Play Live to kind of show what's going on. So we've already know that Mass Effect and Dragon Age aren't going to be having a presence at EA Play Live, much to my dismay. But maybe they can show us some good stuff, some surprises. I look forward July 22nd for the EA Play Live showcase. We've already probably going to get Battlefield. We'll get all the sports stuff usually. Maybe some Sims. Who knows? Sadly, no BioWare. Maybe we'll get some new Respawn stuff. Either Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order stuff or Titanfall stuff. Either way, I'm happy. Okie dokie. I don't need that. Just trying to sort of go through all the articles and sort of reel them off. Okay. And another one is the Coalition are set to show off a Unreal Engine 5 demo at GDC. Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, interesting. But let's take a little sort of look into the article by Adele Ankers from IGN.com. Gears of War Studio, the Coalition, will be showcasing a new Unreal Engine 5 technical demo at the Game Developers Conference, GDC, this month. VGC spotted the scheduling of the hour-long presentation in the GDC session viewer, which is details of the events, shows, lectures and roundtables lined up for the event. The talk, dubbed the Alpha Point Demo on Xbox Series X, will be hosted by the studio's technical director Kate Rayner and technical art director Colin Penty on July 20th at 1:20 p.m. Pacific Time. The talk will cover the learnings the team had while creating nanite resolution assets and incorporating them into a fully real-time lighting scenario with Lumen and virtual shadow maps. According to the description for the session, which is intended for anyone who's interested in getting a sneak peek at the next-gen game workflows and visuals. I'll keep going because I think a lot of this is kind of fascinating stuff. I'm a bit of a nerd for this kind of stuff. So, performance and memory observations will be covered for Xbox Series X and S, as well as VFX, blueprint, material setup, temporal super resolution, and virtual texture findings. The Coalition will also cover some preliminary findings on next-gen character creation and MetaHumans integration, demoing a next-gen character test running on Xbox Series X. The Game Developers Conference will be fully digital for the second year in a row, and the Alpha Point UE5 demo will be available to holders of the All Access Pass, Core Pass, Summits Pass, Expo Pass, Audio Pass, and Independent Game Summit Pass. I'm going to have to look at what all these different passes mean because it seems a bit convoluted and complex and way more difficult than it needs to be, with attendees invited to learn more about the inner workings of UE5's new visual systems. So that makes me wonder, okay, is that actually going to be a new game? Alpha Point is going to be the start of a new game, or is this literally they're just doing a bit of a tech demo whilst sort of already working on maybe the next Gears or whatever they do next? I think I'd be up for a new IP from the Coalition. It'd be interesting to see what they kind of take on storytelling and then gameplay, all that kind of stuff that I think they do quite well. What else they can do with it rather than just Gears of War. Okay. Where am I? Yeah, don't need that. Okie dokie. So that's it for the news of the week. Yeah, quite a lot of stuff. Some interesting stuff, especially at the beginning of the week. I was seeing all this sort of acquisition stuff, partnership stuff, and I was like, whoa, calm down. Um, yeah, quite a lot of news there. A lot to unpack. Moving on swiftly to Our sort of topic of this podcast, PlayStation Studios. One sec while I take a drink. Okay, so when I mean take a look at PlayStation Studios, I literally mean let's walk through all the different studios that they have under their wing, what they're potentially bringing in the future. I guess the first thing, looking at this list, we don't really know a lot of what they bring in. We know a couple of confirmed titles and literally only a couple. After that, a complete mystery. So let's see where we are. First up, we have Naughty Dog. Obviously, their most, I guess, prominent studio, the one that has seen many Game Awards nominees and Game Awards victories. The team behind Uncharted and The Last of Us. They've, well, who knows what they're working on next? Is it going to be a new Uncharted game? Are they already hard at work at part 3 of The Last of Us, maybe? Or are they branching out into a new IP? I would personally love a new IP, so I've never played Uncharted. I don't have that affinity for it. I love The Last of Us 1 and 2, and I'd like to see what more can Naughty Dog do with sort of different world and what have you. It'd be interesting to see where they take their talents next. After that, we have Sucker Punch Productions, the team behind the likes of Infamous and most recently Ghost of Tsushima. We all already know that Ghost of Sushi, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is getting a director's cut coming out sometime this year. Um, yeah, the date's on the internet somewhere. You can go look that up. After that, we don't know. I'm guessing they're already in sort of the the planning design stage of the next title. Hopefully it's Infamous. Come on, I need it, please. Love that kind of thing. I'm literally like I got a weakness for kind of superpower games. Give me some form of superpowers, make it kind of grounded, down to earth, sort of. Um, I guess not. Basically, I don't want stuff like Superman, and I want something like a Heroes game. Something like that, where it's more grounded. It's more about the people and what have you, not just about the fancy powers. That being said, I could do with some more Heroes. Absolutely. Then we have Guerrilla Games. We already know what's coming from them. Horizon 2 Forbidden West. Um, Guerrilla Games was the team behind Killzone. They haven't done that for quite some time, so perhaps maybe we get another Killzone over the horizon. Yeah, see what I did there? Killzone Horizon over the horizon. Yep, glad you got it. Horizon 2 Forbidden West currently has no set date. Um, Imagine it's come in November time, unless they need to delay it. But if everything was going well and going swimmingly, I imagine they'd be gearing towards a November release, have it be their big holiday title that kind of moves some consoles or whatever consoles they can get onto the market, because there's still shortages and what have you. I have yet to play Horizon 1. It's something that's on my backlog, and because of the release of Horizon 2, I have kind of pushed it up. I would like to play it sooner rather than later. We'll see how it goes. Too many games, too little time. You know the story. Then we have Santa Monica Studio bringing one of my most anticipated games now for next year. Originally, it was meant to release this year, but they said, we got to push it back. And that is God of War 2, aka God of War Ragnarok, aka the second God of War. Yeah. Um, Interesting to see where they sort of take Kratos and Atreus, and yeah, I'm ready for that story to continue now. It's been a while, a couple of years, and I need it in my life again. Uh, the first game, I say the first game being the 2018 one. Um, was it 2018? Yeah, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? Either way, I need the next game. I'm ready to go, and it'll probably give me a reason to pick up the controller of my PS5 again. Something I haven't done in quite some time. Too busy playing Switch or Xbox. Then we have Housemarque. Recently, they released Returnal. Really good reviews. Um, I guess this was part of that kind of, I guess, the catalyst of the acquisition, maybe. Maybe the acquisition was being talked about last year, apparently, but this was probably that kind of thing where it's like, this proves, yeah, Housemarque a good fit for PlayStation Studios. I'm guessing the next sort of title will be in the same vein in terms of them just delivering awesome gameplay. I would imagine it'll be new IP. Housemarque are good at sort of not maybe, well, they don't have to continue all their games. They're happy to just sort of release new IPs each time, and I think it works for them. After that, we have Insomniac Games. So their most recent sort of ventures were Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank. Both games highly regarded, highly received. Insomniac know what they're doing. In fact, Insomniac have created some of my favorite games of all time. Stuff like Resistance, Sunset Overdrive. They are a good team, damn it. And under the PlayStation umbrella, all things are possible. They've got the sort of the funding behind them. They've got such a good team. I'm wondering whether maybe they revisit some of their older IP. I wouldn't say no to another Resistance. That has probably been like if someone was up to come up to me and be like, right, what's your most requested new IP from PlayStation? What's your most requested new game from one of their former IPs? I'd be like, yeah, Resistance through and through. I love that kind of world. I love the sort of the setting of it in terms of it was almost like sort of World War kind of aesthetic against aliens. I was like, yeah, sign me up. We have Ben Studio, which have recently sort of it's been known that they work in on a brand new open world game. Be interesting to see what comes of that. I've yet to play Days Gone. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people was meh on it. Um, but kudos to Ben for sort of changing it up from a lot of their former ventures and delivering Days Gone. It'll be interesting to see what they do next. Then we have Polyphony Digital, the team behind the Gran Turismo series, and wouldn't you know, they're working on Gran Turismo 7, currently set for 2022. Um, it'll be, I'm trying to think, it'll be a couple of years, or it's been a couple of years since the last one. Um, I'm guessing they're taking their time to kind of create a showcase game then for the PS5, one of those games where at the end of the generation you could look back and be like, whoa, Gran Turismo was one that kind of delivered on the sort of new hardware of the system. We have Team Asobi, one of the sort of new teams that have been sort of put together, rebranded, and they're the team behind Astrobot. So I'm hoping that they continue with the kind of Astrobot IP and deliver something brand new. So Astrobot Rescue Mission and Astro's Playroom, absolutely loved both those games. I love the character of Astro. I'm sold. Anything from Team Asobi. Now I'm like, yep, count me in. Uh, they do well in sort of delivering showcases for hardware. So Astrobot in VR was one of those moments where I was like, whoa, th this is how good VR can be. And that was a couple years back. So I'd love to maybe see them take another crack at either VR or um, just deliver another good console game. We have Media Molecule, whose most recent release was Dreams. I would have to assume maybe they're working on their next thing. Dreams was a massively ambitious title, which took years and years for them to deliver. Um, and I'd like to see what they do next. They're a very creative team, clearly. Um, I wonder whether they'll go more towards now delivering another platformer, maybe. Um, yeah, see how it goes. Next up, we have Pixel Opus, the team behind Concrete Genie. And what we know so far is they're working on an untitled project in collaboration with Sony Pictures Animation. So just that sentence, it it sparks a little hype there when it says animation, and I'm like, ooh, okay, this could be interesting. Concrete Genie had this lush art style. I haven't played it yet. Another game that's of course in the backlog. I feel like that's just my saying. That game's in my backlog. That game's in my backlog. They're all in my backlog. Uh, really interesting kind of premise and story about this kid who kind of overcomes um, bullying, basically. Something that a lot of people can relate to, sadly. Um, but yeah, just a really gorgeous message and a game overall. Next up, we have London Studio, the team that have delivered a mass amount of VR titles for PSVR. Be interesting to see now. I think every time I say it'll be interesting to, I need to change that up. Um, I wonder whether now they'll be doing a title now for the next VR that's going to be coming to PS5. Um, I'll be well. I want to see what the next PSVR is entirely. So hopefully we get some news of that this year, maybe. We don't know what London Studio are currently up to. Maybe it'll be new IP. Maybe it'll be a sequel to one of their previous VR games. Who knows? And finally, we have San Diego Studio, who are the team behind MLB The Show. My guess is they're working on MLB The Show. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 studios, most of which we know nothing of in terms of what their next projects are. And that's quite exciting. So there was a couple of years back where we knew everything that was coming from PlayStation because they had a big blowout over the sort of the 2 year period. They had awesome E3 conferences and PSXs. We knew everything that was coming, and now we're just kind of at that phase where it's like, right, most of those games are now released. What is coming? Nobody knows, and I look forward to kind of seeing all these announcements, and I hope Sony will wow us with some of these upcoming state of plays this year, next year, etc. A lot of them have kind of been a bit crap, um, so they just need to bring it back now and be like, look, they can do these kind of conferences, digital events, and do it with style, hopefully. There's a couple of studios that we're not going to really sort of look at because Malaysia Studio and San Mateo Studio are typically support studios for SIE. They typically just help all the other studios create their shit. Then we have XDev, which is the partnership studio. You know, they deal with all the collabs and um, kind of like Xbox Game Studios publishing is to the Xbox Game Studios catalog. There's 3 partnerships currently that we know of. One is Haven, and that's the team headed up by Jade Raymond, and they're bringing a new IP. We also have Probably Monsters and Firewalk Studios working on a AAA multiplayer game. I love my multiplayer, so that is something I'll be watching with great interest. And then Deviation Games which got announced at E3. They're also working on a new IP for PlayStation. So there's, what's it, 13, 14, 15, 16, there's probably at least 16 exclusive titles in the works currently from PlayStation Studios, and that's exciting. I think a lot of the sort of Xbox stuff in terms of their acquisitions, then I think that may have been a bit of a catalyst in terms of pushing PlayStation to start kind of acquiring some studios, looking at their catalogs a bit more, kind of looking at more partnerships with different teams that they could kind of branch out to and be like, look, you know, they're not going to acquire some of these studios, but they're going to partner with them and help them sort of build these worlds that they want to build. I think overall it's going to be good for gaming. Um, Exclusives are good for the business. A bunch of people will be like, oh, they hate exclusives, but it's one of those things. It creates competition, it drives competition, and competition is good overall. It helps, Xbox to try and want to be better, and PlayStation to want to be better, and then Nintendo's off in the corner being like, screw you guys, I'm doing my own thing. Um, Speaking of Nintendo, that'll be the sort of key focus of next week's podcast. So yeah, we've discussed all the PlayStation studios this week. We discussed all the Xbox game studios and Bethesda last week, and now next week we're going to hit up Nintendo and see what's the happy hap with them. I've been Jester. You've been absolutely amazing. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope to see you next week for episode 5 of the Jester Says podcast. Take care. Ciao.